Her sin was no greater than his, but she was a woman. 1930s The Divorcee, a frank, outspoken, and daring drama, exposed the hypocrisy of modern marriage. If the world permits the husband to philander, why not the wife? Norma Shearer portrayed Jerry Martin, a happily married New York socialite and career girl, who discovers that her husband Ted, played by Chester Morris, had a drunken one-night stand with another woman. She seeks to redress the balance with her own dalliance, but what she sees as a neutralization of the score, he perceives as an insurmountable betrayal and cause for divorce. So Jerry tries her hand at the unattached lifestyle. It was an adaptation of Ex-Wife by Ursula Parrott, a book that was even more scandalous, so much so that MGM did not want it mentioned by name as a source, and so credited it on screen as based on a novel by Ursula Parrott. The sexy and provocative plot had all the country talking, though it was also seen as sophisticated and emotionally sound. This is the picture credited with ushering in a new wave of sexy, sophisticated women in film. Shearer's portrayal of a promiscuous good woman, who is not condemned for it, was revolutionary at the time. Shearer knew at once the significance of the role. Here was virtue without chastity, complex woman. She loved the role of Jerry, claiming it to be very strong, almost ruthless, and perfect for me. But it didn't fit the ladylike image Norma had been developing. Shearer fought for the part, and she earned it. Having good girl star Norma Shearer at the center made the unseemly respectable and challenges the audience not to sympathize. She received an Oscar for her role as the sophisticated modern wife. Norma now had a new persona in place: sexy, modern, and fun-loving. In the Divorcee's circle of New York's young, wealthy social elite were three men competing for Jerry's attention. Which type did the girls prefer? Chester Morris as the strong lover, tender yet hard-boiled. Conrad Nagel, the dependable, steady, yet unsentimental lover. Or Robert Montgomery, the philanderer, to whom love is but a night's episode. All three men have their eyes on Jerry, who could only see Ted. But soon she was the divorcee. Young and free, she's told by her other divorced friend, all men are fair game. In a world where appearances are everything, Jerry throws caution to the wind, spending her nights carousing with a line of men, collecting boyfriends and jewelry, dressing in sexy gowns and living it up. While always pretty, Jerry doesn't begin to look glamorous until after the divorce, stepping out in beautiful dresses, gorgeous hair, and lavish jewelry, all while excelling in her career. So much so that when proposing to move on, they offered her a promotion in London. But the glamour starts to chip away as Jerry has grown tired of this lifestyle. Life brought her everything except what she really wanted. As it was released in 1930, the film was presumably shot in 1929. The clothes, especially the female fashions, are very indicative of the 20s. The women all wore the skull-cap hats that were very popular at the time. Their dresses seemed to be in a transitional phase, in between the flapper costumes of the 20s and the longer, more glamorous gowns of the 1930s. The sets display all the Art Deco interiors and architecture of the day. At the time in the US, the stigma of divorce was fading, and divorce rates were rising accordingly. The depiction of divorce among the upper classes is oh so sophisticated, where there's no financial consequences, children, or overwhelming familial disapproval to make the rupture messy. Nothing peels away at the veneer of glamour, lacquered thick over the whole affair. From the beautiful gowns to the fabulous Art Deco apartment she shares with her husband at 10 West 68th Street. All of these things combined to give the audiences of the day what they were looking for: wish fulfillment. Audiences wanted to go to the movies and see glamorous rich people living fast and exciting lives. It all needed to be beautiful, and it was. Thalberg hired MGM's chief costume designer, Adrian, to provide a series of gowns that would both highlight Shearer's shapely 5'3" frame and heighten her transformation from virtuous to sensuous. Shearer's session completely dispensed with her prim MGM image, which often consisted of fluttery tulle, fussy tweeds, girl-next-door sportswear, prissy period looks, and the occasional fox fur stole. To make her look real wicked and siren-like, Adrian used richer fabrics, such as lame and brocade, imbuing her gowns with more seductive and revealing cuts. Whether she's a good girl or a girl behaving badly, career woman Norma looked quite glamorous, sauntering around in the fabulous suits and evening gowns. From the form-fitting black dress and matching head wrap, and a memorable bronze number with a plunging neckline, to a simple jumpsuit with batwing sleeves and flared legs that she wore early in the film. In this movie, Norma wears the most expensive dress worn on screen up to that point, worth $1,500. 14 karat was woven into the cloth that Adrian used to make the gown. It had a winged back. When Norma Shearer selected Adrian to do her costumes for this film, it paved his way to becoming MGM's preeminent costume designer. MGM chief Louis B. Mayer was so impressed by Adrian's designs that he had the phrase "Gowns by Adrian" splashed up prominently with the film's opening credits when it premiered in April 1930, and from then on until he resigned from the studio 11 years later. Maybe the reason why The Divorcee was such a success was because it presented a new kind of woman, a modern, confident, and intelligent woman, one who was pursuing new vocational, economic, and romantic freedoms, something that audiences had not seen in films yet. Jerry was the new woman, finding her own way in a new world of skyscrapers, honking horns, and jazz. She spent her days chasing a career, and her nights out on the town. The Divorcee thrilled audiences by showing just what might happen if the modern wife were turned loose on an unsuspecting world.